Well, that sounds like a little spicy conversation on the rising the hill. How you guys enjoying the light? I'm back. um, adjust this a little bit. Ooh, B. All right, now make it even, Steven. Okay, that's cool. I have ears. So this is Ask Me Anything. I'm try a different light. Let me see this one. You guys like that? The red, the green, the blue, the yellow. What's up, Carlton? What's this one? Another blue? A sky blue. What's this one? Um, hmm. I don't know. This one is purple. One is blue. So anyway, I'm back. I skipped uh Sunday and no, well, I skipped Sunday and Monday, I think, right? So back. I'm still going to do two more religious discussions, and then I'm going to end it. One is going to be on can someone who left religion still regain their faith, and the last one is going to be are people who, and this is going to be generated. That's going to be geared towards all the people who come into my chat rooms and to everyone else's chat rooms on live streams trying to proselytize. I'm going to ask the question: do people who proselytize online, are they genuine or just trolls? You pretty much already know what I think is the answer on that one, but nevertheless, I am going to do that one, and that's going to be the end of the religious discussions. Since, like I said, all the people who come on my chat rooms proselytizing never have anything fruitful to say. I think twice, maybe twice, or thrice, one of the people who came in proselytizing actually had something useful to talk about. Maybe three times. So what's up? I am wearing. If you're wondering what I'm wearing, I'm representing the University of Maryland. Go Terps! You know they're not doing well, and they're not doing well in the March Madness, but we still represent anyway. Got to represent. This is literally the only sports team you'll ever see me hyping up because it's my alma mater. So in the in in light of my école d'esprit, my school spirit, I'm a represent. Because to the young who's about to holler at you. Oh no, ladies. He's like, oh boy, oh boy. No, I don't want any of them chicks. Well, I'll probably say it, but I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, so this ask me anything format, so you guys can ask me whatever you like, as long as it's family friendly questions. That's all. Family friendly questions. Don't ask me to. Don't try to get me to give you free therapy. That's not going to work either. You can ask me any question you want, as long as it's family friendly. Um, don't ask me to give you some. Don't come here looking for free therapy because I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to drop a cash app. You're going to have to drop a cash app or a super chat. And don't ask me any legal questions because I'm not a lawyer, despite how I may look. My father was, and he wasn't a very good one. So, uh, don't come asking me for any legal advice. I don't give it. My only legal advice would be to get a lawyer, a paid lawyer. Don't get a public defender. Well, you might as well just go to jail now. um, but yeah, so um, you know, for the people in the chat room, what's up? Ask me questions. You go run, of course. Yep, yep. I was out, 5 a.m. I get up at 4:20, but usually, between drinking my iced coffee, watching a cartoon. That's another thing I do. Like when I get up, I'll put on some sort of like cartoons, usually old cartoons from the 80s and 90s or anime. Something like lighthearted. Um, I see too many people waking up and they automatically start doom scrolling. Or like one of my friends, he watches this, so this is a message to him. Like he gets up and then he'll automatically start sending me like stuff on Instagram that's just rage bait. And I'm like, that's a horrible way to start your morning because you're already putting yourself in a bad mental space by looking at rage bait, things that are going to upset you. Don't look at things that upset you first thing in the morning. You're going to see things that upset you throughout the whole day, especially if you're online. Um, if you're one of the few people that don't look at social media, you're a healthy individual. But regardless, don't start doom scrolling early in the morning on Instagram or Facebook because it's not going to put you in a proper mental space. Also, don't look at the news early in the morning. Same for the same reasons because it's going to put you in a bad mental space. Don't do that. I watch something. I turn on something that's going to make me feel good when I wake up. So I put on something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Batman the Animated Series. Currently, I'm watching DuckTales, the original DuckTales, not that new one. Although I might check out the new DuckTales, but I'm watching the old DuckTales. So I watch that stuff first thing in the morning. Drink my iced coffee. I look at the weather before I go out, so I can dress appropriately. Um, handle go to the latrine and then I set out and go running. So that's my normal every morning. Um, Asher dash Q630 says Simpson. I don't get it. I don't look remotely like OJ Simpson. So if that's your joke, it's kind of whack. Someone said Titanic. Again, don't get it unless you tell me. No, Carter says, "Oh man, this is the crisp in the early this this is crisp in the early morning. I can almost run forever in that kind of air." Yeah, that's another thing. The air, the air feels so. That's the only thing I like when it was like freezing outside. Because I know a lot of you folks was like, I ain't going outside at 15-degree weather. I did. Even when it got all the way down to like 4 degrees, I was outside 8 weeks ago. Every day, and I was shadow box in the back of the house in the snow. I was, um, but one thing I will say, that Arctic air feels good going through your lungs in the morning. It feels so good because especially if you like bottled up in the house, in the office. Like if you're in the house all day and then you're in the office all day, like being outside and getting that crisp, fresh Arctic air feels good as hell. The rest of you won't feel good, but that Arctic air feels good. As far as the rest of me, I'm just like I survive it because I'm layered up. Besides, another thing is when you run, you heat up about 10 to 20 degrees. That's why it's never that bad. So what's bad is when I come inside and then, I'm caked in sweat. So I got to change my clothes before I go back out and do my little shadow boxing in the backyard because otherwise I'm going to be feeling miserable with that cold sweat on my back when I go outside back. Matt Garland says, hi, what's up? You're very nice. I try to be. Carl says you're right. Wake up and absorb to fun and positive energy. Yeah, and I mean this is actual psychological. Like this isn't just like me being subjective. Like well, Carlton, you already know because you've been here for a while. But when I'm telling people this stuff, I'm just kind of breaking down like psychological facts in a very folksy way. But you do not want to start your morning off looking at things that are negative because it's going to put you in a bad mental space for the rest of the day. It's better to start off your day with something positive. So that's why I don't doom scroll or look at rage bait early in the morning. So like usually when my friend sends me that stuff, I won't look at it until like the afternoon because I don't want to start off my morning looking at something this potentially upsetting. And I don't know, I don't think he should do it either because it, what's the point? Like, y'all, there's already enough negative things out there. And on top of that, the only reason that negative stuff comes up in your algorithm is to keep you upset so that you keep scrolling through your feed, which is literally why they call it doom scrolling. Antoinette Lambert dash EC, excuse me, E6S5T says, "Hey, I'm Stevie. What's up?" I think I'm gonna put on my glasses so I don't have to strain my eyes looking at these weird usernames. Someone said, some faggot said, I thought you was Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, okay, because I look like The Rock. Yeah, okay. I think I think all that come up in your brain has been affecting your IQ. Uh, Antoinette says, "How are you?" I'm doing fine. Are you French, Antoinette, or you just have a francophone sounding name? Ohio Chasers IED says hello. He said, "Did you know that? Read my stuff." I don't know what you're talking about. um, or he's responding to someone else in the chat room. I'm not sure. Um, oh, well, whatever you said, it got deleted. Let me see something. Well, first of all, let me change the chat filter to all messages. That could be part of the reason. Because the only one I see my moderator timed out was some moron named Chief Chifa. Mm, I think whatever you put I think YouTube automatically deleted it. Because see, the YouTube, because some people be thinking that the host is deleting this stuff. No, some things YouTube won't let you send through if it triggers the algorithm. Then also I have Streamlabs up, which will delete certain things that I've trained it to look for, but it'll let me know that it's done that. So that is YouTube doing it. So you must have posted something that it didn't like. Chief Cheese is what? Why am I a moron? Um, if my moderator saw fit to time you out, I assume you put something stupid. I see the messages you put. It's not even grammatical for one. I think you're trying to say I look like Squidward, but again, pretty stupid. So I'm assuming you're stupid for saying something stupid because stupid people say stupid things. um, Ohio chases is probably a good thing. I said some weird things. Yeah, and that's why YouTube automatically didn't didn't allow you to post it. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. So Chief Chiva says I was saying you look like Squidward. I was asking if you like him as a character. I never really watched SpongeBob. I never liked the show. That wasn't my era. That was SpongeBob was more for millennials, not for Gen X. And on top of that, I don't have a good opinion of SpongeBob because the first time I actually watched it, what, and I'm not lying. You guys are gonna think I'm lying here. So the first time I saw like actual like SpongeBob, I mean I knew it existed, but I wasn't watching Nickelodeon in my 20s, right, and teens. So the first time it came on, I'm sorry, the first time I saw it was during a final exam for my a cognitive psychology class I was taking on reasoning and reasoning and judgment. Yeah, on human reasoning and judgment making. I kid you not. And the professor literally played it just to see what the effects of it would be on our test taking skills during the final exam. That pissed me off so much that it. I think he gave us a generous curve on that final exam. I'm like, why are you? It was a new lab. We had a cognitive lab. It was new at the time. This is like over 20 years ago. And he decided for this lab to play SpongeBob, which was his kid's favorite show, while we were doing our final exam. And that really annoyed the fuck out of me because SpongeBob already sounds retarded with his whole laugh. The little laugh and squid and his homeboys, the starfish, whatever his name is, Phil Patrick, whatever. And you hear, imagine hearing SpongeBob and Patrick while taking a fucking final exam for a 400 level cognitive psychology class. I didn't like it. So, but so my apologies to Chief. I thought you were coming here with the shits. Carlos says, I prefer Sesame Street over SpongeBob. Elmo teaches you things. SpongeBob dumbs you down. Yeah. Or besides Sesame Street, Electric Company, they had a young Morgan Freeman on it. They had Spider-Man on it. They had Count Dracula on it. I loved Electric Company. The funny thing is it ended in the 70s, but they ran it in syndication on PBS throughout the 80s. Because I didn't even know that it had already stopped. It had already stopped making episodes by the time I was like old enough to watch Sesame Street in the early 80s. Because I think it ended in like 77 or 79. But they were running it in syndication throughout the 80s. So I thought I was watching new stuff. So I loved Sesame Street, Electric Company, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and there was another show. Well, there was also Reading Rainbow, so that was that. Sesame Street, Electric Company, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Reading Rainbow, and there was one other show, and I can't remember what it was. Ohio Chasers, do you like anime? I like, but don't like the art styles. Yeah, I love anime. And actually, I prefer the art style of anime over the way uh, animation is drawn here. Um, I think animation here kind of sucks. I think the anime that comes from both Japan and Korea is much superior. And matter of fact, I think the Korean anime artists are probably better than the Japanese artists. And if you think I'm joking, look at the when the credits roll on most of your favorite anime. Look at the names of the animators. Half of them are Korean because they're hiring the people from South Korea to come to Japan to work in the Japanese animation studios. And on top of that, so Korea has his own version of manga. So Japanese is you have manga comics. Korean has the manhwa comics, which are pretty much the same, but they're Korean based characters instead of Japanese based characters. And like I said, the Koreans might be superior in as far as the animation, since a lot of the Japanese anime studios now hired them to work for them in their studios in Japan. But I prefer the art styles of anime over Western, like, and usually the best Western animation are the ones that uh, have most of their animation done at a Japanese animation studio. Look at Batman, the animated series back in the 90s. Look at stuff like Invincible. I think a lot of that is done in a Japanese or Korean animation. Um, yeah, um, yeah, or what was it? Castlevania, uh, Castlevania, and a few of those little Netflix animation. A lot of it, they're not anime, but you see that a lot of their content was done in a Japanese studio. That's why it looks superior to Western. Like Western animation is like The Simpsons and Family Guy and Bob's Burgers. The animation is shitty. Chi Chi is actually pretty funny, but I would get extremely distracted if my professor did that. Yeah, it was kind of funny, but when your grade is riding on it, it's not funny anymore. So that's why I assumed that he gave us a generous curve on our grade, because that would have been, you know, he 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 would have had a riot on his hand if a lot of us got poor grades because of the cartoon, and then he didn't give us a curve. Shit. Ohio Chases says, I personally have a crush on the anime character, but I can't control that. Uh, you should just get a girlfriend, dude. Ohio Chases ID says, I agree totally. Carl says, get kids back then watch Mr. Rogers. Kids now watch Fresh and Fit. The world has changed. Any kid that's watching Fresh and Fit is already set up for failure. I will not have my kid watch. Uh, they will only be able to look at YouTube Kids. Like I would put the filter on that they can only see you. Although you know what, I don't like a lot of the shit on YouTube Kids though. A lot of that, a lot of the content on YouTube Kids is trash. I'm not gonna like. It's not. At least it's not like. At least it's not like adult themed content like Fresh and Fit. But I still wouldn't want them watching half the shit on YouTube Kids. A lot of that shit is just dumbed down like shit. But at least Mr. Rogers went on up until the 90s before he passed away. So he raised like four, yeah, like four generations of kids. 90s, 80s, 70s, and 60s. That's how long Mr. Rogers was around. Vince Jackson says, I'm in Cincinnati, WKRP. Cincinnati. Casey Drive. I know you're old school, just the WKRP, because no one, look, no one under, because yeah, I would say no one under 47 will probably even get that joke about that, will catch that reference. Ohio Chase ID says I got a girlfriend, but she likes that character too, but but not in the way that I do. Okay, okay, good. At least you got a girlfriend. A girlfriend. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Chief says, "All right, man. I'm ahead. I got a pack of cigs calling my name. Hope you have a good day, bro. All right, no problem. Hope you come back again. Sorry for the misunderstanding. I we literally get so many trolls on the channel that sometimes you don't know if people are coming with good intentions or not. So Thanks. Vince says, "Yeah, I'm 59." Oh yeah, that's what I assumed. I was like, because I was gonna say no one under 50, but I'm under 50, and I know, but I never, but I know the show, but I never watched it. I just remember the theme song, but I never watched the show. Dog Hugger says, "I'm new here. What is the channel about?" Well, I'm the host, Just A Contrarian. I talk on a lot of different a lot of different subjects, which I think I would probably do better to like restrict to like one or two things to help me in the algorithm. But I often talk about things that happen in pop culture. Also, sometimes talk about traveling, although I haven't traveled in a few years. Talk about martial arts and stuff like that. So whatever is on my mind, generally I will talk about, or in the general zeitgeist, I will talk about from a more of a rational or skeptical perspective. Vince says I subscribe and like the channel, fam. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Ohio, Ohio chases good vibes, dog hugger. He said, "Oh, I thought it was buying strategies for stocks." What? Where'd you get that from? My channel name, Just a Contrarian, that is for strategies for stocks. I wouldn't. I wouldn't try to tell people how to use their money. I would say you should buy stocks, you should buy bonds, you should buy mutual funds, you should have an IRA. But I'm not going to tell you what individual stocks to buy. What I personally use is I go by the Berkshire Hathaway stock profile. Dog Hugger says contrarian views. Not necessarily contrarian views. I just so my name, Just A Contrarian, is a cheeky. It's actually a cheeky. Thank you for the GIF. Just saw the GIF just pop up. So I call myself Just as Contrarian as a tongue-in-cheek name. That's not. I'm not literally a contrarian. I say Just A Contrarian because that's usually what I will hear or someone else will hear if they offer an opinion that veers from the mainstream. Like anytime you say something that doesn't vibe with what everyone else thinks, people would just say, "Oh, you're just a contrarian," even if you have, even if your claims are based on like s- solid evidence and good reason. A lot of people don't. A lot of people will call anyone who displays critical thinking skills a contrarian just because they have the audacity not to agree with them. So that's why I call myself just a contrarian, but I'm not literally a contrarian. A contrarian, by definition, is just someone who opposes anything that is the mainstream view. And I don't go against the mainstream just to go against the mainstream. I only go against mainstream views if there's not good reason for that view. But most mainstream views are mainstream for a reason. So Ohio Chases is what, how, where's the confusion? Yeah, I still don't get the whole thing about strategies for stocks though. I mean, I don't know if it's the glasses, but yeah, I remember I get someone like long time ago. When I say long time ago, I'm talking about like 20 years ago because I told her um, stock traders are a waste of. I was like, hiring a stock trader is a waste of money. I was like, you could literally just throw um, darts at a dartboard with different stock up and be just as effective in in finding a good stock. She was like, wait, that's not true. And then she came back like a few days later or something. She was like, I'm sorry. She's like, yeah, you're kind of right. It's like, I know I'm right. Dog Hugger says they buy certain stocks when general wisdom says sell and vice versa. Well, yeah, you're talking about the bear market and the bull market and all that, like all that sort of stuff. I'm aware of it, but yeah, I don't give financial advice. Just like I don't give legal advice because that's not within my realm of expertise. Dog says I'm hip. I understand. All I would say is that you should have financial investments. You shouldn't in 2026. You shouldn't just be relying on a on a savings account. The only thing a savings account is good for is having an emergency fund. That's it. That should not be your form of investment. You should have, you should have an IRA. You should have mutual funds. You should have some sort of stock portfolio. Um, you should probably also buy precious metals like gold and silver to hedge in, to hedge inflation and all that good stuff, or in case of some sort of financial crisis. Radiant Trust says I ate noodles with no packet. Okay, that was less sodium for you. Ohio Jason says I wish I could talk like this, but usually I get dumb people replying. Well, are you attracting dumb people? He's on YouTube Live. No, I get it. Uh, Carlin says I'll take the stereotype of being a financial guy. Good thing he didn't assume you were a rapper. Oh, I know. I'm going to get that later. I'll probably get that later because you already had one person literally say I look like Dwayne. I told you they literally will point out any black person, Carlton, and say I look like. How the fuck do I look like Dwayne Johnson? Do I look remotely Samoan? Do I look remotely Samoan or Hawaiian? I mean, I wish I'll probably be like 6'5". But no, they will literally find whatever black person they can think of. A troll will come in here and say I look like that person. They never accuse me of looking like any of the black people who actually know me have said I look like. Like I've had people say I look like Blair Underwood, the guy from Set It Off. Um, People say I look like Omar Epps. Um, Someone said like Big Daddy Kane. Um, who else? But yeah, no. But people saying I look like the guy from Breaking Bad. No, I don't. People say I look like Don Cheadle. No, I don't. But Dwayne Johnson, that is such a stretch. Like we're not even the same complexion or the same build. That's such a far stretch. Like how do we look even? Ed Ohio says, how do we look even similar? None whatsoever. Like it's just retards say stuff like that. You gotta understand a lot of trolls are people who are neurodivergent or they hail from the dark triad of personality. Um, so they don't have anything but better to do with themselves. They have no filter. Uh, Ohio says anyway. I have to dip, so bye. Oh, no problem. Peace out. Like I said, guys, I will probably conclude my religious discussions this week. I'm gonna do two more of them, and then I'm done with them. One will be again. Um, One will be if someone regain their faith um, once they've become non-theistic, and then the last one will be do people proselytizing online are people proselytizing online genuine in their faith or just trolls? So those would be the last two. Carlin says they think all black people look alike. They say it to minimize our uniqueness. We're viewed as one big nigga. Shaking my head. But is he's trolling because like to say I look like Dwayne Johnson, like we're not even the same complexion, and he's like half Samoan. Like there's literally no familiar like at least with Don Cheadle, we actually are like similar in complexion. We have no facial features resembling each other. The only thing people say that for is with when I'm wearing these reading glasses. Other than that, no physical resemblance to any of them. But a lot look, a lot of them are just trolls, Carlton. Yeah, I mean they might be saying it to minimize the uniqueness of black folks, but you're giving them too much credit. They're just retarded. A lot of folks who come into live streams with nothing else better to do than to troll are just simply retarded. Because what neurotypical person has nothing better to do than to come into a live stream and to like troll troll the host of the stream that he doesn't know and has nothing against. Neurotypical people don't do that. These are retarded folks, and it's time. I think a lot of streamers have become more comfortable in simply saying that. You couldn't say something that was mean to say 3 years ago. Now I'll just say it. Did it get dark already? Shit, it did. Let me close the screen up. Uh, I'm getting hungry too, so if no one's in the stream, I'm gonna end it in a little while. Fix me some food. I don't know what I'm fix yet. Depending on what I have downstairs. See, this is why I miss having a wifey here. I'll never when I'm with her, I don't have to cook ever. But sometimes I do cook just because I want to cook. And she enjoys when I cook. Like I'll fix a little. I still haven't fixed her like my family recipe for country fried potatoes handed down from at least my grandfather, maybe my great grandfather, but I know started with at least my grandfather, my father, and myself. It's my favorite meal to make. Um, because I don't really like, to be honest, I don't really like. I'm lazy. I really don't like cooking. Um, so what what do I? Uh, well, ever since my wife showed me how to fix fried rice, that's one of my favorite things to make. I like making fried rice because after she showed me how to do it the Filipino style, because it's very minimum effort to making Filipino fried rice. Filipino fried rice is just garlic fried rice. What they do is they usually take leftover rice from the day before. So they'll make a huge thing of rice, and whatever's left over, goes in the fridge, and then they'll fry it the next day. So they'll put in some oil, chop some garlic, put the rice in, and then uh, season it with salt, and that's Filipino garlic fried rice. Now some of them do it the Chinese style, but they for them they don't, since that's not their style. They refer to that as like Chinese fried rice. Like that's not their fried rice. Um, but yeah, I like usually making fried rice and then having some sort of meat to go with it. Pause. No diddy, but um, but if it's not, but preferably since I don't like to cook, if I do cook something, I like making something that's already pre-made, um, like uh, like some oven pizza. Just get some oven, some pizza uh, from the supermarket that's already made, and just put that bad boy in the oven. Good to go. What else? I mean, there's some thing like sometimes I'll make Belgian waffles, but I trick it off. I trick it off a little bit. Like I put in some walnuts, Some sometimes I'll put in some protein powder to make them my little protein waffles. So make Belgian waffles, add some walnuts, um, protein powder, nutmeg, vanilla extract, um, um, throw in like 1 or 2 eggs. So it becomes like a whole little um, hearty hearty meal on its own. That's one of my little trade secrets. I might have to kill y'all. I shouldn't have told y'all that, but yeah, you already know. So anyway, those are my little Belgian protein waffles. I use, and I use the specific uh protein I prefer. I guess you guys can use whatever like you like. I like the what's it called, the protein milk, um or whatever protein I usually get. It's the milk something, the meat, not meat milk. It's pause. Um, the the muscle milk. Yeah, I like the muscle milk protein powder. I'll throw that into my Belgian waffles and add like some walnuts, almonds, eggs, vanilla extract, nutmeg. Yeah, muscle. Carlos said muscle milk is good. It is like that's the only protein powder I like. All the other ones taste like crap. All that whey protein tastes like trash. Carlos says, "Does your wife like soul food?" Um, from the stuff that I've made her or we've eaten in in the Philippines. So she likes Jamaican beef patties. You'd be surprised, but there's a lot of places that sell Jamaican beef patties in the Philippines. They like that shit. Um, so she likes those. Um, what soul food have I? So I made her my college spaghetti. So my college spaghetti is basically the way they make the spaghetti on the movie Hancock. But my friend and I was doing that before the movie ever came out. We were doing this back in like 2001, long before the movie came out, where we take the huge meatballs, and mix it with the rice. I mean, sorry, with the pasta. And, you just cut the meatball as you're eating the spaghetti. So she liked that. I fixed it for her and her friends the first time I was there. Uh, what soul food? Oh, so I didn't get to fix her my oven fried chicken, because well, we didn't have an oven. We just had a stove. A lot of Filipino kitchens don't have an oven because most of the food they don't make in the oven. They fix it on the stove. But we do have an air fryer and electric oven at the house now. So I could probably make the oven fried chicken in the electric oven. But I haven't fixed a lot of soul food for her because there's not a lot of, I mean, it's not a lot of soul food stuff there. Um, so I'm pretty sure she would like a lot of that stuff if it's cooked well. Um, but yeah, so really, I'm trying to think what soul food has she had from me, because the spaghetti doesn't count. Uh, and I did make fried chicken, but it wasn't like it. It was, well, it was the college. Just like I made her my college spaghetti, I made her my college fried chicken. So my college fried chicken was basically that I would cook it in olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil. But I had to, but I learned in college that I have to dilute it a little bit because if you cook in pure extra virgin olive oil, it it burns. The oil burns, so you have to dilute it a little bit. But the taste of the extra virgin olive oil flavor on the chicken is really good. That was one of my little things I used to make in college. Carol says in the hood I grew up eating syrup sandwiches. So I've always heard people say that, but I've never done that. Like if we didn't have any meat, I just made a peanut butter sandwich or peanut butter and jelly sandwich or just a jelly or jelly on toast on buttered toast or something like that, or even cinnamon toast. But I never had a syrup sandwich. I guess it could be similar to like jam or jelly, and it'll probably be especially good if you like toasted the bread with butter and put the syrup on it. That would probably be good. But usually my go-to sandwich as a kid was like bologna, especially fried bologna. Because bro, 20 years ago, the protein bars and powder was nasty. Yeah, because it was all that weeder. Because the biggest the biggest supply out there was the weeder products, and all those weeder products tasted horrible. Most of the protein bars were horrible too. The only one that I liked was the Tiger Milk Bar. If you remember the Tiger Milk Bar, that was the only one that I liked. Because I used to work at GNC, so I sampled a lot of the stuff that we sold. That shit was nasty. Like the only because the first because and yeah, the only powder I tried, I think it was like the Weeder Gold 2000 or whatever. That stuff tasted horrible. I remember even my manager, she was like, "Yeah, this stuff is horrible." And she was like, the other guy who worked with us, she was like, "Well, he only likes it because he's a bodybuilder." But that stuff was nasty. Like even because the best one they had was usually the strawberry flavored one, and it still tasted horrible. Now I think if I knew back then what I did now, I could have probably mixed it, like taken the weeder powder, especially like the strawberry one, maybe the vanilla too, but either the strawberry or vanilla, mixed it with real milk, um, or better yet, ice cream. Blended, like I think it would taste good if you took the powder and blended it with ice cream or sherbet. Then that probably would have been good, or at least better than how it naturally tasted. But the Tiger Milk Bar was okay. That was like the only thing I liked. They they basically gave it 8156. He like Silk the Shocker. Now at least okay. Now that was actually funny. That was actually funny. They saying, na 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 na. So I can't rap, so that would make me very similar to Silk the Shocker because neither one of us can rap. It's just that he gets paid to sound like he can rap and he can't rap, and I can't. Because he's off rhythm to a rhythm. Like I don't know, like he like he learned his rap. He learned to rap from a white woman. The only person who could be off beat on his own song, Silk the Shocker. Like Silk the Shocker is the godfather of rap today. Basically, he's the worst, best rapper there ever was. And the movies didn't help either. Do you remember the movie where he was with Jeff Speakman? Jeff Speakman made one good movie, and every other movie he made was trash. So Jeff Speakman was a Kempo uh, instructor under Ed Parker, the Ed Parker who taught Elvis Presley. Um, and Jeff Speakman was like one of the best guys. Like he had the perfect movie that came out in 1991, The Perfect Weapon. I remember after seeing that movie, everyone was like, "Oh, Kempo is dope." Then I actually saw how Kempo actually is practiced. I'm like, this is some trash. But he made it look good, especially the way they choreographed the scenes. But all his other movies were trash. And he did a No Limit film where he was teaching Silk the Shocker, and it was just so bad. I was like, he's a bad actor and a bad rapper and a horrible karate practitioner. So everything he does is bad. But when your big brother is a financial whiz, he can he can afford to fail upwards. That's I think that's the best thing you can say about Silk the Shocker. Oh, that was Hot Boys. Okay, yeah, it was Hot Boys. Yeah, Silk the Shocker's whole career was failing upwards. Seriously, the best song he did was the song he did with Maya, and he was still off rhythm on that. The only reason the song was good was because of Maya. Like she's singing on key. Then he's like, when I say song already stopped 10 minutes ago. He's doing that. Carlton says, speaking of martial arts, Steven Seagal overrated. Completely. He's overrated. He's not. Where do I start? Look, the it is so bad that the guy who gave him his black belt said literally the only reason Seagal passed his test was because he was too tired to pay attention during the test. Uh, Seagal is horrible. He would be able to defend himself just because he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that, and strong. But his Aikido is a. And then the other thing is Aikido is from the Grandmaster himself, the founder Grandmaster Morihei Yoshiba. He literally said that Aikido was supposed to be a spiritual art. It was never meant for fighting or self defense. So the whole Seagal making it seem like this is like a leaf, like this was a an effective self defense was a joke from the beginning. And he mixed it with like karate because there's no strikes in Aikido. There's all redirecting people's energy and stuff like that. Now, there are okay, so let me backstep a little. So there are strikes, but usually the strikes are just to put the person off center so that they can throw them or take them down. But this all the striking and kicking you saw Seagal doing, he was blending Aikido with striking arts. But Seagal has never been vetted, and there was this whole back and forth between him and all these black belt Hall of Famers and Black Belt magazine back in the '90s. He was going against people like Chuck Norris and Jean Claude Van Damme and Bob Wall and Benny the Jet Urquez and all these other folks. And they all none of them considered him a serious martial artist because he wasn't a professional fighter. All those people, including Van Damme, because people try to say Van Damme wasn't an actual fighter. Yes, he was. He actually, and it's easy because you can literally check his record. He has a public fighting record that you can check online. That he was a kickboxer who won the championship in Europe back in the '70s, right before he decided to come to America and try his hand at acting. He was a champion kickboxer and had held a pretty good record. And Chuck Norris also vouched for him as well. He said, I knew him a year and a half before he became an actor because he used to work for Chuck Norris, and so Van Damme would train with him, and Chuck Norris was like, no, he has legit skills. So Seagal was definitely overrated. Now, can you use some of the stuff he teaches if you like pressure test it? Yeah, you could take some of the stuff that Seagal teaches, um, and pressure test it through sparring and competition to make it useful. But what he does, not really. But I mean, what he does himself is not. No, he's not vetted. Babyface and Steven Seagal was hurting people doing movie sets. He even hurt DMX. I don't know about him hurting DMX, but yeah, he has hurt people on movie sets. It's hurt his credibility with in Hollywood because a lot of people don't want to work with him. He even threatened what's the Puerto Rican guy? Um I can't remember his name, but yeah, his because his most successful movie was Executive Decision, and they were talking about how much of an asshole he was on set. Baby says R.I.P. to Chuck Norris. Damn right. Rest in peace to Chuck. Um, Sebo and Chuck. See, I'm sorry. How does say Sebo and basically just the Korean version of saying sensei. Since his first art was in Tang Soto, he has 6 different black belts: Tang Soto, Taekwondo, um, karate, judo, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and something else. I actually did a dedication to him like last weekend. I even brought out my old Chuck Norris action figure from his old cartoon in the '80s called Karate Commandos that came out in 1986. Show of Life says we are not dumb. Okay, so you must have been a troll from a previous um, live stream because literally no one said anything to the fact of that. Babyface says I kind of felt like he's teaching cops in LA and they all came back and said it was useless. That's probably true. It was useless, but his selling point now is trying to say that he teaches MMA fighters how to do a front kick, and the only reason they don't disagree with him is because they're just being polite. But they always he keeps trying to say he teaches them a specific sort of front kick that they use. Like, dude, please, like even if they didn't know how to do a front kick before then, I'm pretty sure that your little crusty ass front snap kick was not the linchpin in them winning or losing a match. But of course, out of politeness, none of them are going to disagree with him. But I think Steven Seagal might have a he might have a fictional prone personality, and I think he's just a grifter. But if you want to see like a fair representation of him, you can watch karate nerd Jesse Encamp, who does an interview with him. He does his best to portray Steven Seagal in a positive light, which is pretty freaking hard. but the, and by the way, his name is not even Seagal, it's Siegel. He started calling himself Seagal to make it stand out more. His name is just Steven Seagal. But anyway, yeah, he's a bit of a schmuck, definitely. And there's nothing wrong with training aikido, by the way. But it's not a martial art geared towards self defense or fighting. There are several arts like that. Tai Chi isn't. Qigong isn't. Wushu isn't. You know, Tai Chi, Wushu, Aikido, Qigong. These are not. These are arts that are specifically not made for self defense or fighting. Now, Tai Chi at one point did there. So I'll backstep a little bit. There is a combat form of Tai Chi, which is actually sort of like grappling, and it can be a. I think it can be applicable in self defense if you pressure test it in sparring, but I don't think learning it by itself would be as useful as if I don't I think well I think to make it work you have to train it with something else to make it effective. Same thing with Aikido. Like Aikido not being a combat art, I think if you apply it to another style of another if you apply it within a combat sport, like if you add in like kickboxing or Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or wrestling, then you can make the Aikido work. Same thing with Tai Chi. I don't think Tai Chi will work on its own. Although, like I said, there is a combat sport form of Tai Chi practiced overseas. I think they have it here in the US as well, but it's very not very many practitioners. So there's a combat form of Tai Chi, not just the stuff you see old people doing. But even still, I think for it to be like actually like effective outside of that outside of that very limited combat application, you would have to pair it with another sort of combat sport to make it work. Uh Babyface is now Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis can really do sidekicks in heaven. Who's Jonathan Brandis? I'm not sure who that is. But most of the jokes I heard was saying that now every time you hear a thunderstorm, that's Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee having a rematch. So I've heard that. But let me see what time it is. 8:16. So I'm gonna wrap it up, guys, since there's not too many people in the live stream. Plus I'm hungry. But again, represent Maryland. Although again, they're sucking in the they're sucking in the March Madness right now. So shout out to Maryland, go Terps. I'm gonna be back with a this with a discussion for, with a topic for discussion tomorrow in the next live stream. But until then, guys, take it easy. Babyface says you don't remember the Sidekicks movie. Yeah. I remember the Sidekicks movie. Was Jonathan Brandis the kid? I know it was kind of a knockoff Karate Kid. I know it was made to be a comedy. There was a lot of knockoff Karate Kid movies back in the day. That wasn't the only one. Um, it was like a few others. But yeah, no. I know what you're saying. But I didn't know another what other I don't well so now I have to look up Jonathan Brandis. I hope it wasn't the kid who died. But anyway, I'm gone, babyface. Everyone else who came in earlier, thank you. Uh, take it easy. Thank you for the GIF. And I'm out, guys. Peace. Oh, the kid actually passed away. I didn't know that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Damn. Well, that's something I learned new. Well, anyway, I'm out. That's sad news. Now I'm gonna have to go watch the movie because of that. Might watch that with the wife. All right, take care. All right, see you.